It's Saturday. It's the Saturday that we are studding the basement. It's when everything starts to look real. I got an email about 30 minutes ago saying Home Depot was on their way with the lumber. I went with Home Depot because they have the cheapest lumber right now, with all of the lumber prices shooting up. Normally, Menards has the cheapest lumber here in the Midwest. Something I'm really nervous about is I bought all of this lumber myself. I went out and I was like, I think this is what we need these boards, and I am terrified that my dad's gonna show up and Jay's brother-in-laws are gonna show up and they're gonna go, pine? Patricia, why would you buy pine? I think that I did it right though. I think. Now while we're waiting for the lumber to get here, before we can stud anything, this wall has to come down, which means all of the stuff on the other side of it has to come off, all of the drywall, and then the studs need to be taken out. We're gonna salvage whatever we can out of this wall because there are some good things in it. It just can't stay there. I was going to try and salvage this vanity, but it looked like there was a little bit of hidden water damage right here, so we're just gonna start fresh and do it right the first time. But on the upside, this lovely thing, it's not staying here because I'm going to make a tile shower, but we can donate it to something like Habitat for Humanity. Looks like the lumber's here. Lumber was supposed to be here today between 6 and 10, and it is exactly 9:59. Well played, Home Depot. Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, and don't be suspicious. And that's it. If I would have bought this a year ago, it would have cost about $300, but it cost just over $1,000 this year. My dad got here just after the lumber did, so good timing, Dad. He immediately sprung into action and started cleaning up our workspace so that we could move all of the lumber inside in case it rains. You're doing such a good job.
I want to tell you that your help has been just pretty much amazing.
Well, I'll help. Oh, okay. If we're both doing this, who's gonna morally support you? I pulled up my hair and started helping my dad move all of the lumber into the garage. While we were doing this, I noticed that the treated lumber was much heavier than the regular studs. This is due to the fact that treated lumber is infused with copper, which acts as a poison for anything that would try to grow in it, such as fungus or mold, or try to eat it, like termites. After all of the lumber was moved out of the driveway, we continued to use the garage as our base of operations by setting up a cutting station. It was also here that I broke the bad news to my dad that I hadn't demoed the wall downstairs yet because I wasn't sure what to do with the plumbing within.
Cold water shutoff that's coming in from the main. And so if we shut this off right here, we have to cut this line, let it drain, solder a valve on down there, and then we'll be fine.
It's gonna drain on the floor?
Or into a bucket. Get the water out of the system.
Should I get a bucket before you do that?
It won't hurt. I don't think there'll be much water here, but...
Oh, okay, well then I won't. You said it wouldn't be that much. Next, Dad prepped a piece of copper that we were going to solder the valve to and showed me the ball joint on the inside. The ball joint is made of nylon, which can melt if it gets too hot. So to combat this, we're wrapping a damp towel around the joint so that it can stay cool while the copper heats up. After the copper was piping hot, it was time to add the solder.
This is a real skill that I don't really have that much of, but we're going to do our best at making this work.
After the first joint was soldered and the entire basement smelled like burning metal, Dad took a second to appreciate how good of a conductor copper is. We then prepped the other side of the hot water line that we cut, and Dad introduced me to tinning paste. Once the solder is in liquid form, the tinning paste will pull the solder in to seal the joint all the way around, and greatly assists in preventing your joints from leaking.
You could possibly seal it without it, but it's just harder. And why would anyone make this harder? when the handle is in line, then the valve is open.
Open.
When the handle is perpendicular to the line, it is closed.
Open.
Yeah. Well, we'll work on that. Holy cow.
I think I was a little too excited to hold the torch.
When I was younger, I used to go like this through
Candles?
candles.
This is not a candle. But if you look at this closely, when I put the solder to it, it should, the flux should make it ring all the way around.
So how do you know when it's sealed? Or will you not know until you turn the water back on and test it?
No, it's probably the sad truth of the matter right there. You can kind of see when it starts sucking the solder in. And that's a pretty good sign. Like I said, somebody that's good at this probably just knows from experience. Since I do this about once every 3 years or less, I have to depend on a lot of guesswork. I'm just going to put it on as a trickle.
Okay.
See if it hits the button, the bucket. Well, let me turn it on full blast here and see what it says. Yeah, that's remarkable.
You weren't expecting it to work?
Now it was time to find the cold water line.
This is a water line to a refrigerator.
Okay.
Why it's in the living room, I don't know. Why there was the kitchen forward in this house?
Not that I know of, but maybe.
That's pretty weird.
After a couple of minutes, we located the cold water line. Right after we found it, Jeff showed up.
Hello. Hello.
I've come to join in on the fun.
Hi.
We're having a lot of fun. How was the farmer's market?
Busy.
I cut this line, hot water line, put a valve in. And so now I want to do the same thing with the cold water line. But the cold water line is a little different. And I am a little worried about the gate valves on this water meter not sealing. Because they're old. Gate valves are notorious for leaking.
What's a gate valve?
It's your knob valves. So it's not a ball, which these are ball valves. That one's not. It's just a flap.
Okay. So flaps are no good, balls are great.
Balls are always.
Okay.
I didn't say it. We're gonna run new copper from where you are right now next to the hot water valve so that both valves are right next to each other so they're easy to find. Well, while you guys are working on that, since we already saw how the first one was done, I'm gonna go over and take all of these screws out of the drywall and start pulling them off. Jeff,
What?
I literally just said I was gonna go do that.
Yeah, you could
Okay,
do the work.
I am.
You know how during Christmas time you let the kids decorate the tree with you, and then as soon as the kids leave, you redecorate the tree correctly? That's kind of how Jeff feels about me during this renovation.
Alright.
Boom. Here's the inside of the wall. So there's a ton of copper in there that we will try to use and repurpose.
Quite a few of these nails were stripped when I was trying to take the wall apart, making it kind of difficult. Luckily, Jeff knew just what to do.
Whoa!
You just fill the hole with tape, and then it gets enough traction on your bit.
It was finally time to put everything I learned about soldering today into action.
Okay.
Okay, so you just heat those things there.
And then just,
Tap the top of the bar.
Right over the crack there.
my God.
See it? Okay. Well,
So the top one,
is the one you did, and it
Yeah.
looks really nice.
thanks Dad, and then
let's
the
not
bottom
show
one.
them the nasty one I did. Do you wanna saw that off, or?
Yeah, do you have a
I have a Sawzall in the car. Why don't you go get that?
Because I don't know what it is.
Why don't you go get that?
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Plan B.
Plan B is just you doing it? Mean.
Sorry. Yeah. There we go. Alright.
So when we opened the gate valves here on the meter, it should start leaking all over the place.
Okay.
It's gonna rain.
You know, as long as that's the expectation.
Well, that is my expectation.
Well, if we're disappointed, then that means we're in money.
Now the air tracking,
Yep.
the worst possible one is leaking like crazy. Okay.
Oh
But
Wow.
this,
no! I mean, it's hard to get behind it.
Yeah. Horse shit.
is it just the one side?
I think it's over here. Yeah, the side I think was best.
You go on that side and bump it in.
I can turn and tap it.
Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can.
That was almost to a beat, Dad.
Yeah, you know.
Dry as bone.
All right.
Loving it.
That's the moment. It's gonna break right when your face is under it.
I think that happened.
No, it's gonna break when everything's finished.
Have you actually done?
Before I don't like it.
After a little more fire, a little more water, a couple of wins, and several defeats, we were bound to eventually get it right. Right?
Where's all this water going?
God, those are ugly. They're gonna be hitting. Stop. God. I don't see any water either.
You think you're so funny. So as you guys probably saw, we didn't get any of the framing done today, but we still made a massive leap forward with the plumbing. Now we have 2 shutoff valves for the hot and the cold that make perfect sense. They're gonna be in the unfinished space, and the bathroom is all ready to go for when we start plumbing there.
With the plumbing all finished and the old bathroom wall demoed, this new layout is really starting to come to life. The bathroom looks absolutely massive now, and I'm really excited to see it all finished. The basement was officially prepped so that we can start studding tomorrow. And while we wanted to keep going today, there was a princess emergency, and a little girl was waiting for her visit from Elsa.
I'm not a princess, I'm a queen.
Oh. Yeah.
You're a nice guy.
Well, thanks.
You're
You know, most people miss that.
Yeah.
Yeah.